Hi everyone, this is Neil Writers here, consultant audiologist and director of ClearWax. Thank you for joining me in my latest video using the iCLEARscope endoscope. And do stay tuned, please do watch all of it. It's a really interesting and complex case, and at the end I've got a really good still image of the wax, which is humongous. So I'll give you the backstory. So this patient actually saw a colleague of mine, I think last week, and my colleague's really good. And so they really struggled, and I totally understand why. So they referred the patient to myself, and every time this particular colleague has referred a patient to myself, it's not been a straightforward case. But I'm not gonna lie, when I first looked in the ear, I thought, okay, it looks pretty straightforward, but boy, was I wrong. And some of you may be watching this and thinking, well, it looks pretty straightforward, but it's not. Sometimes appearances can be deceptive. This plug, the patient reports it being there for about 40 years, potentially, because that's when they last had their wax removed. And the last time they had their wax removed, they had it removed using a metal ear syringe, which is now banned in the UK. So it's been a long time. Excuse me. I kind of knew it was going to be difficult, and I don't know why, but whenever I look at the top part of the ear canal where the wax is, if it's quite sticky and gooey like chewing gum, it's normally a telltale sign for me. It's going to be tricky, and these cases normally need to be removed using manual instruments, hence why I've kind of almost gone in straight away with manual instruments. However, they were suffering from otalgia, which is ear pain, and that was prior to attending. And whenever someone's got earache and you're using manual instruments, you can sometimes add to that otalgia. And that's because this wax is already compressed, it's applying pressure against the canal wall. And when you're using a hook or a curette, you're inadvertently applying a bit more pressure. So I had to bear that in mind. There were a couple of occasions where they did say it was slightly uncomfortable, so I just came out. I always play the video back as well, just to show them, just to reassure them, because sometimes patients may think that you're touching the eardrum or the canal wall. And it does reassure them when you show them that actually you're just trying to remove the wax, you're not touching anything. It gives them a bit of confidence in you. There was no pressure actually, because I say that sarcastically. The patient did say that my colleague said I will definitely remove it. So I had to play along with that. I didn't want to. They did travel quite a distance as well. But I don't normally like making those kind of promises, just in case. But I had to be true to my word here and get this out for them. And there was a point, I must admit, where I thought I'm going to have to get this patient back. Unfortunately, they were right. We booked them in before my lunch break, so I did run over a little bit, but it was fine. So I'm just trying to separate this plug from the floor. They do have a bit of a ditch, a widening of the floor of the ear canal, which at this point I can't fully see, but it becomes more noticeable once the plug has been removed. I'm giving it a little wriggle. And I'm just going to be a bit careful with the movements, because they've already got ear pain. Every time I'm rocking this plug, it could be, again, I don't know at this stage, that the tip of this plug could be touching the eardrum, which it probably was, given the size of it. It was monstrous, it really was. And suction is a bit tricky because it's so matted. You can see all those, it's almost like a haystack. You don't really get a good suction grip here. And I think at this point I got my colleague Darmister to help me, assist me by pulling the ear back, just to make it a bit wider so it's more comfortable for the patient. And hopefully I can then bring this plug through. They did have quite a narrow bendy entrance, so just by enlarging the ear canal, which with the wax scope, the specular would do itself. I did actually start off with the wax scope for a couple of minutes, but I thought I need to use the endoscope for this. Ironically, earlier in the day, I started off with the endoscope, but went to the wax scope when I was removing some wax off the eardrum. So they do complement each other very well indeed. And in fact, I've got some improvements hopefully in the pipeline for the wax scope. I'm just waiting for some prototypes. Don't want to say too much, but once I'm nearly there, we'll reveal all. But if it works, yeah, I'm really excited. So I'm using the ear pick, it just wasn't penetrating. The core of this was rock solid. It just glided off. Hence why I initially used, well, not initially, I did revert to the metal ear hook And also I'm going to use the metal correct in a moment, I think. So again, I'm just trying to separate this, which I have, but I can just feel it's trapped deeper. I'm pulling and I can feel it's trying to come away, but something's stopping it. So it's playing tug of war with me, this ear canal is. So guys, just to give you a quick update, especially anyone who's in Australia, I'm going back to Australia, I think. So there's a conference that I've been invited to do a workshop at. It's in Queensland, Brisbane, just north of Brisbane. It's a beachside location, so I'm really excited. So when I went Melbourne last month, it was winter, and Melbourne was quite cold. It was a lot hotter here. It was in the UK, it was 30 degrees. And here's me flying halfway around the world, and it was quite cold. I was wearing my jumpers, woolly jacket, sweaters, jeans, but hopefully the weather's going to be a lot better. But I'm probably going to be there for 3 weeks. We've had so much interest. It's a bit overwhelming, it's a bit daunting, because I do also want to have a little quick holiday there. I've got some family, but it's going to be 3 weeker, I think. Probably 2 weeks working and 1 week just in between. Just have some days off, do some travelling, some sightseeing. So if you are an Australian specialist, do get in contact with us. The email address, well, the website's at the bottom, and you can then drop a message via our contact page, or just email info@clearwax.co.uk. If you're on our mailing list already, we will be sending something out soon, but I think a lot of the training courses are already filled up. Going to be starting in Brisbane, then probably going to Melbourne, and then Sydney. Might make a visit to Perth as well, because we've got a few specialists there, but I've also got some family there. But Brisbane and Perth are complete opposite sides of Australia. Melbourne's a bit more, I think it's more towards the southeast, but closer to Brisbane, I think. So yeah, I'm excited. It may not sound like it, but the travel last time was quite hard. I was only there for a couple of weeks, and by the time I acclimatized and got over my jet lag, it was about time to come back. And I came back and work was so busy. It was my little sister's wedding. So some other stuff going on. So I'm just slowly trying to recover. So if I haven't responded to some of the specialist emails from Australia with the videos, it's on my list of things to do. We've got a clear wax course as well this Friday. So that's booked. Next month I'm in Australia, so I haven't got a course planned. But we've launched one in November, and I think it's already fully booked. I've got to check. And then hopefully I'll be going to America mid-end November. It's my birthday around that time, so I want to try and do it at the same time, because we're hopefully launching in America, but just trying to overcome all these tariff stuff that's going on. So again, if you're an American specialist, I'm not ignoring you. I did get a couple of emails today. I've just reached out to our FDA sponsor, just trying to get some more clarity on where they stand with all the tariffs. So we'll get back to you very shortly. I've got an amazing trainer there already. Jeff LaCour is an ENT physician. He's been using the WaxScope for a while, so he's done some amazing things with it. I've seen some of the procedures, they're out this world. But he wants me to be there for the first couple, just to give him a hand, because obviously it's my device, so there's nuances there that I can help with. But yeah, it's all systems go. So I'm just going back to the procedure, wasn't much going on there. Just using the forceps here. There's a few hairs at the bottom. I'm trying to grab onto those and pull these forwards. Because the hairs were quite embedded, when I was pulling it, I did feel the wax plug coming forwards, and I was hopeful. And the patient felt it, and they did feel the plug coming, and it just stopped at the entrance. So I think Dharmista is having a little break here, but she is going to return and pull this ear back for me again. And I think at this stage I was conceding defeat. And again, I know when I watch back, I think it doesn't look complex, but appearances can be deceptive when it comes to wax removal, and it can in any walk of life. So now I thought I got the ear hook in, but you can see it just glided. It's just so solid in the core. But there's now an opening at the top, and I'm going to have to try and get this out. Just told the patient that I'm going to have to go in and behind now. I'm able to now. There's a bit of an opening. So initially I tried the ear pick. I managed to get quite deep. I couldn't get any deeper, so I decided to penetrate and bring it forward, kind of drag it. But again, it just sliced through. And I think I'm going to use suction one more time. I don't know why. It's a bit pointless me doing this, but I'll just sort of give it. Sometimes you go back in the suction, you're just so lucky and it just comes away. So I was just trying my luck. Because again, I was trying to, the manual instruments were a bit uncomfortable for the patient. Not unbearably so, but you kind of feel guilty yourself. But the patient was fine, so look, we just want this out. And again, as an audiologist in the UK, I can't prescribe any topical or even, topical local anaesthetics, so you can get some creams and ointments. There's one over the counter, but it's such a low dose, it's just not going to do much for this. I think I did actually put some in actually. When it wasn't oil, I used some of it. It's a glycerol and lidocaine solution. But I think sometimes even with local anaesthetic, they probably still feel it, because if the anaesthetic doesn't penetrate and when you've got all this wax. So this is where I managed to pull it out. So I leveraged it out initially with the ear hook, got in and behind. I'm just going to pull the rest of it out. And again, do stay tuned for the still image. And I'm going to enter the ear. It looks really healthy. I thought it was going to be a lot more red than it actually was. There's a bit of a ditch at the floor of the ear canal. I think that was the problem. The wax collected in that. And yeah, that's the plug. There's a second image with a pencil tip beside it, so you have some perspective, but it was large. Probably not lengthwise, but bulkiness. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Take care, keep well, speak soon. Bye.